All right, audience awareness for essay 4. This is perhaps the most important part of this essay because it doesn't really matter why you believe your argument to be true. It only matters if you can convince your audience that it's true. And so to change a person's mind means you need to know why they think what they think, and you need to speak to that. You need to know what they believe already and what they don't believe already. Because you don't want to waste your time trying to prove something to them that they already believe. You want to focus on the things they don't believe. But at the same time, you want to make sure you're speaking to their values and you don't want to offend them. So it's a really important step, this audience awareness. And so what I want you to do is write a paragraph, and you're probably going to need to do some research. And it's for a lot of people, it's very difficult to think about their audience as an intelligent person. You got to get over that. If you want to make convincing arguments, if you don't want to just be some kind of person who's yelling and screaming and not making anybody change their mind, then you need to understand your audience. And you need to understand why your audience thinks what they think. You got to know why they think what they think. You have to understand what are the things that they believe and why do they believe them. And you need to say, well, maybe there's some things that are just true. Maybe they're looking at some evidence in a different way than I'm looking at it. So why is it that they look at it that way? And how can I prove to them that the way they're looking at this issue is not the right way? More importantly, how can I prove to them that this way, the way that I'm convincing them, the way that I am writing about, that is the way to look at it. So you really do need to think about a few things. Who is my audience? What do they value? What do they believe? Why do they believe the things that they believe? And then what is it that would probably offend them? What are common arguments that are made to this audience? You got to remember, there's going to be common arguments that these people hear all the time, and it hasn't changed their mind yet. Why would you, if you just repeat those things, why would that change their mind? They are already getting that kind of argument all the time anyway. So if you're just repeating regular talking points that they hear all the time, you're just going to do nothing. So you need to figure out what is a way that I can convince this audience to change their minds. And it's not going to be from calling them names. It's not going to be from insulting them. It's not going to be from repeating the same things that they hear all the time. How can I get through to my audience? That's the real challenge of an argumentative essay. It's a real challenge of any kind of argument. And this is something that we don't just do this in comp class. We do it all the time. And so what we're trying to do here is we're really trying to sharpen this skill in an essay format. But of course, it's going to help us in every other argument that we ever get into in life. Because what we want to do is not fight. We're not trying to fight with people. We're trying to say, listen, person who is a respectable person with at least a rational mind who I respect, you're looking at it wrong. This is the way to look at it. And I know you're going to see it this way because you're a good human being. You're a decent human being. And let me just show you why this is the correct way to look at it. Okay? So you need to understand your audience to do that. So this might mean that you're going to need to find a friend or a relative that disagrees with you. That's really handy, because if you can find an actual human to talk to explain the opposing point of view, man, that's awesome. That person is actually in your audience. Now, maybe you can't, especially, if you can't get around a lot of people, or if you don't know anybody has an opposing point of view, you're going to need to do some research. And that means you're going to need to look at sources of information that come from that person's point of view, that person's world view. And it can't be commentary from people who already agree with you about why these people are wrong, because you're not going to learn anything about that audience by just finding out more reasons why they're stupid or why they're wrong or why this or that. You really need to try to humanize, get to know your audience in a way that it's like, okay, I can see why a person would see it this way. I don't agree with it, and I think they should change their mind. So let me give this audience reasons that are going to be respectable reasons why this audience should change their mind, reasons that this audience will take seriously to change their mind. So when you do this assignment, when you hand it in to me, I want a full paragraph about what this audience believes, who they are, why they believe what they believe, as much as you can tell me about your audience. The better you know your audience, the better your argument will likely be. All right, go ahead and get started.